Good morning everyone, I hope you're okay. In this lesson we're going to be solving inequalities. Let me show you what that means. Okay, let's say I'm thinking of a number, I add 3 to it and my answer is less than or equal to 10. My question for you is, which numbers could I have started with? So please pause the video and see if you can answer my question. Okay, you may have been able to do this in your head quickly, but I'm going to do this process slowly just so we really understand this process and how we link it to inequalities. Alright, so I'm just going to draw a table of numbers that could work and numbers that couldn't work. Let's just start with the number 1. If I do 1 plus 3, that makes 4. Is my answer less than or equal to 10? Well, yes it is. 4 is less than or equal to 10, so 1 does fit this problem. What about 2? Well, 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 is less than or equal to 10, so 2 will work. Similarly, 3 will work because 3 and 3 is 6, and 6 is less than 10, so 3 works. And if I keep this process going, 4 works, 5 works, 6 works. Okay, so now if I try 7, well, 7 plus 3 is 10. Is 10 less than or equal to 10? Yes, because it's equal to 10, that just about fits that problem. So 7 will work. But what about the number 8? Well, 8 plus 3 makes 11. 11 is not less than or equal to 10, so 8 cannot work. So 8 will go in my cross column. Alright, so similarly, 9 wouldn't work because 9 and 3 gives me 12, which is too big, and so on. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all of these integers won't work. All of these integers will work. So let's say in words, what numbers could I have started with? Well, in words, I could have started with any number 7 or below. 7 was that cutoff point. If I'd done something like 7.1, that would give me an answer that's too big to fit the problem. Okay, so let's link this to inequalities. So let's get rid of that. In maths, if I'm thinking of a number, if I don't know what that number is yet, remember what a mathematician would do. We just use algebra. We're just going to call it x. If I take that number, so if I take that x and add 3 to it, I would have x add 3. If my answer is less than or equal to 10, well, think about how I'd write that with maths, algebra and inequalities. So I would say x plus 3 is less than or equal to 10. So I've written an inequality based on these sentences on my screen. Okay, so what we're about to do, we're going to solve this inequality, right? So it's very, very similar to solving equations, what you spent a lot of time doing in year 7. And actually the method is exactly the same. All I'm going to do, solve means just find x on its own. So we don't want x at 3, we just want x on its own. Using my balancing method from last year, to get rid of this 3, I'm going to take away 3. I need to do the inverse operation. So the opposite to adding 3 is subtracting 3. Because I've taken away 3 from my left hand side, to keep it balanced I'm going to do the same thing to the right hand side. So that tells me that x is less than or equal to 7. So using algebra is the quick way to solve a problem like this. Right, so x is less than or equal to 7. So that tells me that I could have started with any number less than or equal to 7. Okay, so let's solve the following inequalities. So if you're feeling confident, you can pause the video and try these for yourselves. If you're not feeling confident, just let the video run and I'm going to go through all 4 examples step by step. Okay, so in this question, x plus 3 is less than 9. Solve means just find x on its own. So, how do I get from x plus 3 to just x on its own? Well, I need that plus 3 to go away. How do I make a plus 3 go away? Well, if I take away 3, that will make that positive 3 turn into a 0, right? So that would tell me that x is less than 6, and this is my answer. Next question. 2x plus 3 is less than 9. I don't want 2x plus 3, I just want x on its own. One way to get a bit closer to x on its own is to make this positive 3 go away. How do I get from positive 3 to 0? Well, taking 3 away from both sides, that will tell me that 2x is less than 6. I haven't solved the inequality yet, because solve means just get x on its own. But at the moment I have 2 x's are less than 6. How do I get from 2 x's to just 1x? Well, I need to divide it by 2. Dividing both sides by 2, that tells me that x is less than 3, and this is my solution. Okay, third question. X minus 3 all divided by 2 is less than 9. Okay, be careful here. We're not allowed to begin this question by adding 3 to both sides because it's not just a minus 3, it's this whole thing has been divided by 2. Because that whole numerator has been divided by 2, I need to deal with this division first in this instance. So I'm going to start, well, what's the opposite of dividing by 2? Well, the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. Timesing both sides by 2, I've now eliminated that division. So my left hand side, I'm just left with x minus 3 because I've done the opposite of dividing by 2. 9 times by 2 gives me 18. Okay, how do I get from x minus 3 to just x on its own? Well, what's the opposite of minusing 3? Well, it's adding 3. Adding 3 to both sides to keep it balanced. That tells me that x is less than 21, and this is my solution. Okay, final inequality to solve. So the first thing I'm going to do, notice how this question looks quite similar to the one we just done, but in this case I am allowed to add 3 to both sides first. I am allowed to do that because that negative 3 is not part of the fraction. If something's part of a fraction, you can't touch it until you've dealt with the denominator. So negative 3, what's the opposite of minusing 3? Well, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So that tells me that x divided by 2 is less than 12. Okay, now I can deal with this fraction. So what's the opposite of dividing by 2? Well, it's multiplying by 2. Timesing both sides by 2, that tells me that x is less than 24, and that is the solution to my problem. Okay, so please can you find the worksheet I've attached for you on Google Classroom, and I've also attached your solutions for you on the same sheet as well. So please just let me know if you need any help, and I'll be more than happy to give you some support. Thank you very much, guys.